Before we get started, if you like this story, make sure you go over to the Amazon link, which will be at the top of the description. The author has a book over there, so go check it out. Don't Accept Jobs in the Morgue. Written by Scary Stories with BB. The ad itself made me shiver, but at the same time, it was appealing. It said, "Earn $120 per night as a night guard in the morgue. Apply now." I've been jobless for a while, and I had to afford to pay my rent and late bills. And with this kind of pay, I'd be able to live like a king. So I applied, hesitantly, half hoping I wouldn't get a response from the company. Not even 2 hours later, I got an email from the employer. "Thank you for applying to our position as a night guard in the morgue. We are happy to inform you that your skills are suitable for our company. We hereby would like to offer you a 1-year contract. If you agree to the terms below, please leave your signature via the online signature website listed below and be at redacted by 10 p.m. tonight. You will receive a payment of $600 weekly on the bank account provided." Tonight? I thought, that was a little soon, but I didn't complain. I didn't know what to expect or who I would meet there. So I put on my shirt and jeans and went to the address a little bit early. I was there at 9:40 p.m., and a middle-aged man who seemed to be a morgue worker greeted me. "Hi, Ethan, right? I'm George." I shook his hand with a smile. "I know you were probably sent here on short notice, but the security company whose services we employ was in need of a new guard for tonight's shift, right away." So I'm outsourced from another security company to your morgue?" I asked. "That's right. You work for an outsourcing security company, and from what I hear, they pay pretty well. So, who knows? You might even end up in a better position in the future," he winked. "Right. So, about the duties here," I started. "Oh, that? Nah, no big deal. Just make sure no one breaks in." He leaned in and said this next part. "Or out." We stared at each other for a moment, and then he chuckled and said, "I'm just kidding. Well, listen, my shift is over, so I'll be going now. Just sit tight in the office and relax until 6 a.m. That is when the first shift arrives." And with that, he left. I sat down by the desk in the office. I thought this was probably not going to be bad. There was a paper in front of me, and after observing it, I realized that it was a list of rules addressed to me. It said, "To the new guard, welcome to the company. Below is a list of rules for your job. First thing you should do is conduct a full sweep of the area and make sure nothing is out of the ordinary, including the crypt. Important note, if any body chambers are pulled out in the crypt, push them back in. They should all remain pushed in at all times. After the sweep, you may remain in the office until the end of the shift." There were more rules listed below, but I decided to first check the place out. It was fairly small, with one big room that had medical supplies in it, the crypt, and a bathroom. I first decided to get the worst out of the way, the crypt. I left the office and opened up the sturdy crypt door. I was immediately hit by a wave of cold air. Inside were 2 body carts in the middle of the room and the cold chambers on the wall. All of them were closed, so I hastily left the room. On my way from the bathroom, I saw a man in a lab coat standing in the medical room. He was fiddling with some tools next to a body bag. "Jesus, you scared the hell out of me," I said. He shot me a bemused glance and kept working. "I thought everyone had already left. My name's Ethan. I'm the new guard," I said, but he simply ignored me. I waved a hand in dismissal and returned to the office. I was about to continue reading the rules when there was a sudden creaking sound, reverberating throughout the entire building. It was faint, but it sounded like pipes. It was intermittently lasting for a few seconds, and then paused just as long. I ignored it and slacked off some more. Checked out my phone too, but the longer the creak lasted though, the more I got unnerved. It sounded less like pipes and more like moans. I went out to ask the employee about that, but he had already gone home by then. I couldn't tell where exactly the sound was coming from, but it sounded like the crypt. So I went down there. As soon as I opened up the door, the whole building went silent. I held my breath as I observed the room, and then I realized that one of the body drawers was pulled out ever so slightly. I pushed it back in and then bolted to the office. The creaking was completely gone by then. I continued reading. Number 3. You may sleep in the office, but this is inadvisable. Just then, the loudest noise ever made me jump out of my skin. "Please, someone let me out!" A voice cried from somewhere, and the pipes carried its voice. I stood up, heart racing. "I can't breathe! Let me out!" The voice repeated, now followed by a series of loud bangs. I opened up the office door and the screams were apparently coming from the crypt. I shuddered but decided to open up the door. "I'm not dead, this is a mistake, someone please!" The voice got louder as I opened the sturdy door. "Where are you?" I frantically looked around, while the man continued screaming bloody murder and banging. I approached the source of the sound and listened to make sure this was the right chamber. "I'm not dead! Let me out, please!" The voice and the banging suddenly stopped when I abruptly pulled out the drawer and was met with a cold, dead body of a middle-aged man. I stood there staring at the corpse, my mind unable to comprehend what just happened. I heard it very clearly. I felt the banging as I held the drawer handle. And then it was just like someone had shut it off abruptly. Was my mind playing tricks on me? I pushed the drawer back in and bolted out of there, shutting the office door and thinking that, well, applying here may have been a bad idea. I felt like I was on needles, but I convinced myself that after a while it was just all in my head. I continued reading the rules. Number 4. You may play music to kill the silence, so long as it doesn't drown out any outside noises. Number 5. If you hear any incoherent sounds coming from the crypt, you can ignore them. Number 6. If the sound turns into a panicked scream, do the following. If the scream is female, ignore it until they stop. Do not enter the crypt during this time under any circumstances. If the screams are male, locate the source of the scream and pull out the body drawer. This should stop the screaming. The page ended there. I placed the paper down and leaned back in the chair. It was about 1 a.m. I started feeling pretty sleepy. After a while, my eyes just started to shut. Just as I started to drift off into a dream, I felt a firm grip from behind on my shoulder. I instantly shot up, knocking the chair down in the process. No one was there. I, understandably, no longer felt sleepy. Everything was quiet for a while, and I went to the bathroom once more. When I had returned, it was 4 a.m., and it was pretty much ready to end my shift here. I started thinking about how it wasn't so bad for $120. Until I flipped over the paper with the rules on it, and realized that there was something else written on the back. Number 7. All of the staff will be out of the building by 10 p.m. If you see a man in a lab coat during your shift, do not, under any circumstances, try to talk to him. I read the rule 5 times over, but the text remained the same. There was a gentle knock on the office door. I looked up and through the glass, I saw the man with the lab coat grinning at me. It's now 4:30 a.m. and he keeps knocking. I would like to thank all of the lovely and amazing patrons who are currently listed on screen right now. Dan R., Neophyte Games, Chaos X, Mr. Swiston, Official Jerboa, JY Pyromancer, Hayden MH, Ethan A, Daniel H, Maximilian Charles P, Deneen H, and Go Cute Puppy LLC. Guys, thank you so much. If you want to be a patron and check out a pretty nice backlog of stories, go down to that link down below. Thank you.